Sachin, Thadi Apni Sonia West. Welcome to Sanjhi Baat. Today in the studio we have Sachin Latti, a remarkable South Asian and advocate for mental health and fitness. Well, you're going to tell you why I said fitness in just a moment. Let's meet Sachin Latti. Sachin. Sachin, मैं थानू मिली सी Kids Play Gala ते. When I met you, I was impressed because there was a highlight about you at the gala. So ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਗੱਲ ਅੰਗਰੇਜ਼ੀ ਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਮਿਕਸ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ but you can answer in English.
Sure.
So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਬਾਰੇ. Who is Sachin Latti? Let's start there.
Well, I'm a son of immigrants. My parents immigrated to Canada 48 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was born here.
Okay.
And I'm a law enforcement officer, at least retired.
Yeah.
And worked in law enforcement for 18 years with the Canada Border Services Agency.
Okay.
Went through my own struggles with mental health, which precipitated me starting to explore advocacy within mental health.
Yeah.
So that's who I am.
So you were with the CBSA.
Yeah.
And I think most of our viewers, ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਵੀ CBSA ਲਈ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. Great job. Why would you leave your job to pursue running?
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of people probably think that's a little crazy or not that smart. But for me, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
I was doing it for 18 years. And it came to a point where I didn't want to just go to work for a paycheck.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something meaningful.
Right.
And something that resonated with me and something that would help other people.
Okay.
So that's why I left.
So when we talk about mental health, and you talked a bit about that you had struggled with it yourself, and then you thought you need something to make an impact in this world. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ community ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ mental health ਬਾਰੇ our advice to people is like just be happy. ਫਿਕਰ ਨਾ ਕਰ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਠੀਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਊਗਾ.
Yeah.
You understood all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your response to that?
Well, how do you become happy?
Good question.
So if someone says, oh, just be happy, well, how do I do that?
Okay.
And I was struggling a great deal with depression and anxiety. Like in 18 years in law enforcement life, everything kind of took a toll on me.
Yeah.
And, people would say, what's wrong? What's your problem?
Yeah.
You have a nice job. Why don't you be happy?
Yes.
I didn't know how to do it.
Okay.
So I had to figure out how I would become happy. And the way I would become happy was by service to other people.
Okay.
And by exploring things that I like to do. And I didn't like to work at the place I was working at anymore, so I decided to shift.
Okay. So what did you shift to?
So what I shifted to, well, I guess, to start, I started this running thing during the pandemic.
Okay.
So like everyone, we were isolated, we weren't able to do other things, even physical things.
Yeah.
So the only thing I could do at the time was run.
Okay.
And I hadn't ran since high school. I'm 47 now.
Okay.
And so it was a long time ago.
Yeah. You don't look that age.
Okay.
Probably because you're fit.
Yeah, maybe,
but,
probably. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's good for our viewers too. If you want to look young, we have to exercise.
Yeah, and eat well.
Yeah.
So for me, I had to find something to feel better.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I had access to were my running shoes.
Yeah.
And I just went outside and started running.
Okay.
And look, I started from bottom.
Yeah.
I was struggling a great deal.
Okay.
And I wasn't what people might see me as today.
Yeah.
I was very different 4 years ago. I was probably wouldn't be able to sit here and have a conversation like we're having right now. And so for me, it was a process to get to where I am today.
When you say you couldn't have a conversation 4 years ago, was that because you couldn't mentally bring yourself to have a conversation, or lack of confidence, or?
All of the things. So if I was sitting here, my anxiety would probably overtake me.
Okay.
Not sure what to say or how to say it.
Yeah.
Scared to say things about mental health in front of other people.
Right. Judgment.
Yeah. Right. And I think our community is affected a great deal with what other people think.
Yeah. Loki kalge.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, I was no different.
Yeah.
So, but starting the process of trying to take care of myself first.
Yeah.
I saw how that was helping me.
Okay.
And then through that process, day after day after day, it started kind of growing.
Okay.
Until where it is now.
So you did 22 marathons in 22 days?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, I mean, let's go back a bit here, because when I first started, I couldn't even run 5 kilometers.
Okay. None of us can.
Yeah.
So
okay. So even like whatever the distance is, like for me now, running 5 kilometers is okay. I can do it.
Okay.
But when I first started, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And so for me to even get to 5 kilometers was a challenge.
Right.
And I started all of this running about 4 years ago. And so when I started running, it was very small. No one knew what I was doing. No one knew who I was.
Yeah.
I was just doing something to help myself. And then after about 9 months to a year of consistently putting in effort, trying to take care of myself,
Right.
I saw some results.
Okay.
And I was able to run a decent amount after about 9, 10 months
Okay.
because I was highly focused.
Yes.
Just like anybody who's in their job.
Yeah.
You're focused in your job and trying to do better at your job. I shifted that priority or that focus into running.
Okay.
And after about a year, I thought, man, I should probably do something to help other people through this.
Okay.
So I said I decided to run for 100 kilometers. So I ran from Chilliwack
Wow.
to the Vancouver airport. And I did that in just under 15 hours.
That's amazing because I don't even like to drive that.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
no,
amazing.
and listen, I don't like running it either.
Yeah, no kidding.
But what I did like was raising $21,000 for charity.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I raised $21,000 to help support veterans and first responders
Yeah.
with PTSD and with mental health issues.
Yeah.
So when I did that, I was like, well, wait a second. That felt really good.
Yes.
And it was probably the best I had felt in a long time.
Yeah.
So I thought to myself, how do I do more of that? So then I started continued training, continued running.
Okay.
And then the following year in 2022, I started doing races. And the races I was doing weren't like, marathon or 10K or 21K. And a marathon, for your listeners, is 42 kilometers.
Okay.
I decided to do ultra marathons.
Okay.
And an ultra marathon is minimum of 50 kilometers in a run.
Wow.
In one race. Wow. And look, I wasn't good at it,
Yeah.
but I scheduled myself to do 9 of them in the year of 2022. So I started in March of 2022. Every month I would do one. And then I ended in, November.
Okay.
So, but I did it not only to help myself, to learn, to train, but I did it also to raise awareness and funds for mental health.
Yeah.
So I started kind of being more active in social media, talking about it a little bit more.
Right.
And at the end of those 9 ultra marathons, I had raised $16,000 for the Honor House Society.
Amazing.
And yeah, I was. I mean, I never thought in a million years, me just doing something for myself
Yeah.
that could benefit a whole bunch of other people.
Exactly.
So after I had done that, I was like, wow, I never thought in a million years I could do that. First time I ran the 100K, I never thought I could do that.
Right.
So then I started questioning, what else can I do? What's possible?
Yeah.
So then the following year, I thought, okay, let's see if I can run across the province. And in 2023,
Yeah.
I ran from Revelstoke to Victoria. That's where the 22 marathons came from.
Okay.
So it was, each day I ran 42 kilometers, every single day across the province in the summer. And in those
That's
20...
unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, now that I reflect on it, yeah, it was like, how did I even manage it?
Yeah.
But in those 22 days, we raised about $20,000 for the Honor House Society.
Yeah.
So all these things, I kept doing something, pushing myself, chasing goals,
Yeah.
and then seeing myself achieve them, with a reasonable amount of success. And it kept pushing me to see what else I could do.
Right.
And then this past year in 2024, I ran 60 kilometers a day for 60 days. So in June, I started running 60 kilometers every day.
Every day, 60
Well,
kilometers every
sorry,
day.
except for Fridays, because Fridays I was with my daughter.
Oh, except for Fridays. That's funny. So that's a lot to run. I mean, that'd be a lot to run over a week.
Oh, 100%.
So
yeah.
to do that every day, what was your fitness, your health like? I mean, you were probably dehydrated, exhausted, muscle cramping, all that stuff.
Look, I mean, it's not easy.
No.
Right? So I guess that's a good question. You know why? Because I think when people hear someone doing something like that, they must think, oh, it's easy, they can do it.
Right.
No.
No.
It's not easy. Extremely challenging.
Yeah.
And I got sick, and I was in pain every single day.
Yeah.
But it's not so much about worrying about how I'm feeling. It's worrying about how someone else is feeling. Right? So if I can manage that, if I can endure it,
Yeah.
and raise $20,000, well, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
So it's something called purpose. And if someone has a purpose in life, they can overcome just about any discomfort.
So as I'm talking to you, purpose is a wonderful word, and we all need purpose in order to live, to have something, right? Otherwise, we're feeling unhappy in life. If we have the purpose, it gives us
Exactly.
something to live for. But the word that I keep hearing as I'm thinking of you running is gratitude. So I bet when you're running, there's a lot of thoughts that probably go through your head. That's 60 kilometers every day. You're doing a lot of thinking, a lot of soul searching, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
7.5 hours every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's why I'm a different person today than I was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have much gratitude before.
Right.
And I was a pretty angry guy.
Yeah.
I would, maybe even toxic, you could say.
That's because that's hamster wheel of going to work and doing the same monotonous thing every day, day in and day out.
I felt, look, man, there's a lot of people feeling like this.
Yeah.
A lot of men, I would say, feel like this.
Yeah.
And I was disillusioned with the direction my life was taking.
Okay.
So for me, I didn't have a purpose. That's where my mental health started crumbling. And I started feeling like, what's the point?
Yeah.
I'm going every day to work, get a paycheck, but for what?
Yeah.
And so that's what kind of started me expanding out and thinking bigger. And when I was doing these 60-kilometer day runs,
Yeah.
it was a great deal of gratitude. And sometimes it would hit me like this. I live in the South Surrey, White Rock area,
Okay.
and I'd run by the beach often.
Yeah.
And some days it would be beautiful outside, and the sun would hit off the water, and all of a sudden I'd feel all this gratitude.
Right.
But I don't think I would have ever felt that before a few years ago, because I didn't understand what gratitude was, like truly understood it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, it's a pretty astute observation for you to mention the gratitude piece, but it's very important, I think.
I'm not saying that I'm able to read people's energy, but I could feel that from you, that I feel like you're one of those people that really is just probably reflecting a lot and just being thankful for being, able to have this life. And at your age, respectfully, and, it's to be able to run that much. A lot of people that are 48 in their 40s have a hard time getting up off the couch or getting out of that rut. So people that are experiencing mental health, the last thing they want to do is get up and exercise in any kind of way, let alone 60 kilometers.
No, for sure, but I think I'm not better than anybody. Anybody can do exactly what I'm doing once you have a purpose. And you just have to be consistent. I went to Rossland this past weekend. Rossland's in the mountains in the Kootenays.
Okay.
I visited a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And these were the things we were talking about. Like, where do you find purpose? How do you find purpose? And I think a lot of people don't have it. And people think when they see someone like me doing what I'm doing, oh my God, that guy's amazing, this, that, and the other. He's probably like this his entire life. No,
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I had to be very consistent over a period of time. I had a lot of struggles. I still do. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of failures, a lot of mistakes. But I keep getting up and I keep doing it over and over again so that there's no quit.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people maybe nowadays might feel like, not quitting, but what's the point of doing it?
Yeah.
Purpose. So I think people really need to understand why they're doing anything they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people fall into that rut of the purpose is the paycheck. The purpose is I got to feed my kids.
Yeah.
But taking that time for yourself, because not everybody can quit their job or is willing to quit their job. I mean, it was probably difficult for you to quit your job at the time, but you made the decision, which is a good one.
Well, no, listen, it's not easy even today. I don't have
Yeah.
lots of money.
Yeah.
I don't.
No, you're just giving it away.
I make significantly less than I did before,
Yeah.
but I'm much happier today.
Yes.
Much happier.
Yeah.
No, yeah, okay, cool. My bills are a bit tighter and I can't do a lot of things, or I don't have this fancy car, or I don't have this big house. Oh, cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm helping a lot of people. And I think our community has lost the idea of what Seva is.
Yeah, let's talk about our community being, because we don't talk about mental health. There's no way, and especially not males. To think that a man would actually show emotion in regular, like in Caucasian culture, I guess, Canadian culture, I suppose we could say, is, it's a taboo subject. But South Asian is just like, men can never show emotion. And in fact, they would say, have a drink or do something else, work harder.
Yeah, well, I think the South Asian community shows emotion, but it's the anger emotion that this gets showed a lot often, right?
Which isn't the real emotion.
No, what is anger? Anger is pain, right? And sorrow that comes out,
Right.
right? So I think, the South Asian community, and look, man, I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah.
I wasn't before. I would block it all out and I'd be very intimidating.
Yeah.
And have walls up and not share and not, connect with people.
Yeah.
Now I connect with people. And I think, showing emotion now, I don't really care if someone sees me cry or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not like,
A puddle on the
overly,
ground.
but I'll cry. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because the reality is I know what I'm capable of.
Right. And I think that when someone sees you, like I met you at the gala, and to see you is a bit overwhelming because you're this strong picture of health, but you're a very muscular, tall man. And I would imagine that people would be like a little hesitant to approach you. If they were struggling, they might be like, oh, I can't talk to him. But you're very approachable. And I'm sure there's a lot of kids that are watching that are struggling and they don't know what to do. And you're probably giving them some inspiration.
Well, I don't know if I am, but if I am, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? What I am doing is doing my best every day.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about how that impacts too many people.
Right.
Because if it did, that would get overwhelming. Because the reality is, I think I can see the trajectory over the next 18 months to 24 months of what I do.
Yeah.
If I consistently do what I'm doing.
Right.
And if I think about that too much, it can get overwhelming. So what I do remind myself of is do my best every single day.
Yeah.
And if I do my best every single day and someone's inspired by that, cool.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I try not to focus too much on it.
Have you seen people that you've inspired? Have you interacted with people that have come to you and shared their story?
Yeah, over the last few years, I've met a bunch of people through social media, and
Yeah.
I've traveled to actually meet some of them just to hang out. I've met a lot of people that have been impacted by some of the stuff I've done, like this past summer, this corrections officer in the Okanagan.
Yeah.
He met me 2 years ago, and I'll share the story just because
Please.
I think it's an important story, but
Okay.
for me, it is humbling to share it. But I met him 2 years ago when I was about to do the Vancouver half marathon.
Okay.
Right, and he was at the same race to do it. And he saw me, we had a conversation, and then shortly thereafter, he connected with me, and he wanted to do something for charity,
Right.
the way I've been doing it.
Okay.
So this past summer, he ran 60 kilometers. He ran from Penticton to Soyuz. And he raised, I think, $10,000 for veterans and first responders with mental health issues.
Okay.
But the ripple effect of that, and just because of me doing my best, doing what I want to do,
Yes.
inspired him to train, to keep moving,
And to
and
help
then
others.
help other people.
Yeah.
Another guy in Toronto,
Yeah.
friend, I call him a friend now. He was struggling a great deal. He connected with me,
Yeah.
and we started having conversations, and we've met each other multiple times,
Yeah.
and he's doing a lot better.
Okay.
So yeah, I meet people all the time, and they say that I've inspired them to do things better, and that's,
It's beautiful, actually, because it's almost like everyone's paying it forward. It's that ripple effect that you talked about. I keep hearing you talk about connected. So human connection, that's really important, probably. So can you
100%.
talk a bit about human connection?
Well, I know for me it is.
Yeah.
I wasn't connected to anyone a few years ago.
Okay.
Because I had all these walls up, and I was trying to be someone that I thought people thought I should be,
Right.
rather than who I am.
Especially being in a CBSA role, I would imagine.
Yeah, that probably reinforced some behaviors. 18
Being a
years.
tough guy, right?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
perception.
And look, you're saying that I'm big and strong. Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm not that tall. But having said that, I was bigger before. So I've lost some size.
Okay.
And so I was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to be scared or
Right.
intimidated. And I think, I do value for myself connecting with people.
Yeah.
And connecting with like-minded people, because that
Right.
makes me feel good, and
Yeah.
that makes me do better.
Yeah.
So I think connection is a vital piece for people's mental health.
Okay.
I think eating well is a vital piece. Having a sense of purpose in life and
Yeah.
exercising, all these things together have to happen. It's not like a choice, right? People choose, oh, okay, maybe I'll do this thing, or maybe I'll do that, that'll work. No, I think that's the wrong way to think.
Right.
You have to do everything
Yeah.
to be an optimized person. And I'm just trying to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
To be the best version of myself, I have to do all these things.
Right. South Asian families that are watching, maybe their child is struggling right now. What kinds of information or help would you say for the parents to do for their children? Like, how can they support their kids? Because we have a lot of disconnect. I mean, all cultures do, but the South Asian culture seems to have a disconnect with their kids. Their kids are busy in their lives and they're doing their own life, and and there's mental health and fitness issues. Like there's a lot going on. What kind of things do you think that parents can do for their kids? What's the best thing that they can do?
Oh man, that's a hard question to
It's a big
answer.
one,
It's
yeah.
an impossible one to answer, to be honest, because every scenario is different and every family is different. If the family aren't connecting, well, step one, connect with their family.
Yeah.
Like the parents need to be there.
Could they do something maybe physically together?
For sure. I think so. Look, doing anything together
Yeah,
will be a
I guess
benefit.
that's a good start.
Right? Do something together first. And I think, look, okay, so when I can speak for myself.
Yes.
I grew up in a household that was amazing. It was great, but it still was an immigrant family household.
Yeah.
And my dad was educated. He got his master's in electrical engineering. He got it from England.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like he was an uneducated individual. He understood things.
Right.
Same with my mom. She grew up in England. So she understands certain things, but still they had the cultural norms that are still in place today. So
Yeah.
it was more of a fear-based household rather than a communication-based household.
Okay.
So if you're scared of things,
Yes.
I mean, that immediately creates anxiety and stuff like that. So I
Absolutely.
think a better way to do things, at least the way I'm trying to do it with my daughter, is to not have her be scared of me.
Right.
I want
Yeah.
her to understand their boundaries,
Yep.
understand that there are things that you have to do that are non-negotiable,
Yeah.
but I don't want her to be scared of me.
Right.
I want her to be able to feel like she's safe in the environment.
Right.
Whereas when I was a kid, there was moments where it was unsafe.
Yeah.
And I think having that sort of feelings, start there, remove that.
So I asked you a big question, what can families do to connect with their kids? I think you just said it, communication and taking that fear away and being like, I'm your safety net, I'm here for you. When the world is not with you, your family's with you. So having that feeling, I think is important.
It's
I think
huge,
you
right?
hit it
Because
right
like,
on
look,
the
I
head.
mean, there's a reason why our community, the younger generation, is faltering in certain areas. It's because they don't communicate, and
Yeah.
their parents probably don't have an understanding of how to communicate either.
Right.
So you have to start by being the best version of yourself, man. Like, people don't want to work hard.
Yeah.
And if someone looks at me and thinks, oh, this guy's doing this, that, and the other, man, I've worked hard.
Yes.
Harder than most people
Yeah.
in their jobs
Yeah.
to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
And to put it in perspective, 4 years, I've run 14,000 kilometers.
Wow. I mean,
And
for
the-
those of us with New Year's resolutions, I mean, we feel shame right now.
No, but it's not.
14,000 kilometers
But that's
is insane.
For me to be able to run 60 kilometers a day. I don't just do that. I'm training every day. After
yeah.
we're done here, I'm going to run 25 kilometers.
Yeah.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Right. So
Yeah.
every day, I'm trying to find ways to push that envelope.
Right.
And people think physical activity is just physical. It's not. Physical activity is a mental effort.
Right.
Because if you're running for a number of hours, you're negotiating with yourself every single time.
Right.
And now it's a conversation of how to endure.
Yeah.
And there's something called brain endurance training
Okay.
that people do or can do when they're doing physical activity that expands resilience. It makes your mental capacity grow.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just running.
No.
Every time I'm running 7 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, I'm becoming mentally smarter. I'm creating new neural pathways in my brain.
Yep.
So for me it's not just, oh, I'm going for a run. Who cares, man?
Right.
It's about becoming more resilient
Yeah.
to things. Very little can bother me now. Very
Amazing.
little. But
It
before, a lot of things bothered me.
Bother you? It kind of reminds me of when people do meditation,
Mm.
because when you're running that whole time and focused, really focused, and you're creating those pathways in your brain, it's almost like you're meditating,
It is.
kind of like that. I do want you to give a message to the people that are watching, because you are very inspirational, and it's 4 years later, and you've changed everything about you. You're positive, and you're the picture of health. You're smaller than you were, but you're healthier than you probably
Yeah.
were. So if you can give a message to those viewers that are watching that want to hear something inspirational, motivational, that would help them maybe get out of their mental health situation, you can just look right in that camera over there.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's a pretty big responsibility. I'll do my best. Look, I think it's very important that each one of us who are struggling to think about how to be the best version of yourself and figure out what you want to do with your life and be the best at it. I've figured out what I want to do, and that's to be of service and to help as many people as possible. And it requires a community to do that. So for me, I'll be, and I just want to just drop this real quick so that people know, I'll be running across the country this year. And starting in June, I'll be running across Canada by running 100 kilometers a day, every single day. And it's not about me. it's about the community. So if people think I'm inspiring people, well, the community inspires me. And I think if we can see a whole number of younger generation people coming out for some of these runs with me, I think you'll see a huge difference in your mindset and how you will be able to tackle things that you were unable to tackle before. So do your best, find what you want to do, and get after it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think your story is inspirational, and also your vibe is contagious. So I think the people that are watching will probably want to do something to get involved in something to do with fitness and also mind health.
Yeah.
So Sanjha TV will join you whenever you're running across the country. We're going to keep tabs on you and see where you're at, and then we'll hopefully come and start the kickoff or meet
Amazing.
you at a different part of the country.
Well, hey, listen, whatever, I think for me, it's just about the community. I'm just a vessel
Yeah.
to be able to do something. It's really the community that comes together that makes it really impactful. I mean, we want to raise a ton of money, right? So to raise $1 million, we need everyone to do it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. ਇਹ ਸੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੋਨੀਆ ਵੈਸਟ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਫॉर ਵਾਚਿੰਗ ਵੀਲ ਸੀ ਯੂ ਅਗੇਨ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ